Welcome to another episode of the Black Cinema Experience
Podcast.
I'm Cameron,
And I'm JB.
and we have another amazing show for you. It's the Vince Staples Show. You've probably seen it on TikTok, Instagram. We are so excited to bring it to you. So, JB, tell us a little bit about the show.
First things first, the Vince Staples Show is streaming on Netflix. I love this show for 1,001 reasons, but I'm going to try to keep it brief for you today. Vince Staples, for me, is one of the most somehow genuine actors / artists / creatives out there. He never acts like he knows what's going on. He never tries to give you that I'm arrogant, I got all my ish together. He just seems like the most down to Mars guy ever.
For real.
Not only in the Vince Staples shows, but also in his role in Abbott Elementary as well. Just seeing him on TV, I mean, he really just appears authentically as himself. And maybe he's just a good actor, but he just seems like he really does body that laid back demeanor. Like maybe they gave him some lines and maybe he followed them and maybe he didn't. But either way, it came out good. That's who he is to me. Something special about the Vince Staples Show that I liked. It's really weird to say this because I don't know how many people are actually going to understand this reference the right way. Okay? Follow me here.
We're listening.
The Cosby Show, that good, wholesome family vibe, you know, that real Black essence, the way that it feels like to really be like at the cookout or to be at the house when your parents are having a disagreement about hoagies, you know what I mean? That type of Cosby Show energy, you know, and I say that and I'm always cautious because people are like, Cosby?
Yeah.
Oh, no, she didn't. But it's this awesome energy that, I mean, we could take whatever we want from Bill Cosby. Yeah. Like, we can't take away the fact that he created shows that made people feel like something. And this specific show, the Vince Staples Show, made me feel something when I watched it. There were moments where he's arguing with his girl and they're going back and forth, but you know the type of argument that they're having. This is just how, this is not even an argument, really. This is just Black vernacular. This is just how we talk to each other. We talk a little tough, you know what I mean? Like there's moments where he really just doesn't want to do things or just be like 100% present.
Exactly.
And he's not. And it's like reflective of the truth. Like it's reflective of the world. Like how many times as a woman have you been like, come take this picture. Come take this picture.
And he's dragging his feet.
And he's dragging his feet, and you gotta be like, come on. Then he gets into it. Then y'all posing. You know what I mean? It's just like there were so many little moments that kind of like reflected the truth of like our world and what we really see. It's Cosby-esque in regards to it being like wholesome and there being like a family element where there's a woman who's like, I'm checking my man, but also checking in on my man because, babe, how was your day? Okay.
Exactly.
So I'm 100% a fan of the show. I thought I wasn't going to like the girlfriend. I honestly was being very colorist about it when I first saw her come up. I was like, she light skinned. I already know what's going on. Like you just picked a baddie to be your playgirl on this thing. But when I actually see her and like get her demeanor throughout the episodes, the limited episodes, I'm like, oh, okay.
Talk about that, but yes.
I feel your sass. Yeah, no, I do want to talk about the limited episodes.
5.
What were they thinking?
5?
20 minutes each? What were you doing? Making a movie and got tired?
Exactly. That's what
I'm going to cut it into smaller pieces.
I definitely hope they are bringing back another. Like, there's no way we have to protest or something to make sure we get more seasons of this show. Absolutely.
I'm here for it. I'm really, really here for it. Not just because I think Vince Staples is awkwardly fine, but also because, again, like I said, it's that family feel. But I thought there were some really cool intercultural things, intra-cultural things. So things that Black people amongst other Black people would laugh about, right? The amusement park scene. Yes. Okay? The 2 girls in the box. We're on our break.
My favorite scene. That's one of my favorite scenes.
To see Black people have attitudes with Black people. I mean, I know white people have no idea how we talk to one another. They probably think that we're all on the same side.
Yeah, and we're not.
And we're not.
I mean, we don't want it to be that way, but it's that way.
We don't want it to be that way. But when she came over there and said, that nigga in the gift shop was discriminating against me.
She was like,
he can't be racist. Black people can't be racist.
She said racially profiling.
Yeah, racially profiling. Right. But to see them, like, to see how the 2 Black women were like ganging up on her, like, girl, you wrong. Exactly. That ain't happened. Like, that's how Black people really talk to each other. we gaslight each other. Whatever you just experienced, you didn't experience.
Exactly.
And he said you were stealing like Winona Ryder. So
when they threw that now, I said they're cultured.
Okay.
Exactly.
Why did I have the same reference? I was like, okay, black girls. Winona.
Exactly.
Okay, black girls. But there was just 1,000 things about this that I loved. His attitude about doing things, but also like the fact that he had such a hard day. There was like a side of that I saw, and I thought it was really like just epic. Where like at the end of the amusement park episode, I'm sorry to just bring up this one episode. There were so many great episodes, and we're gonna touch on a few of them. But at the end of the amusement park episode, she's cussing him. His girlfriend is cussing him out. She's like, "Where were you? They was treating me like I was stealing. You need to come beat his ass." Whoop, whoop. And they're going back and forth. And she's not knowing that he just got jumped. Like, she's not knowing that he just basically got robbed for chicken. And the first chicken spot wouldn't even serve him. Like, she's not knowing the hell that he just went through. And I do feel like the funny thing about that is that it's poking fun at the lack of communication that black men and black women have with each other. It's just such a fun way to poke fun at it.
Exactly.
But there's so much truth in that. Black women, we are so disappointed because our black men did not show up for us. He did not show up for us. Meanwhile, the world is behind the scenes kicking his ass, and we have no idea what's going on. Because when you ask a black man what's going on, or you ask
he doesn't
a man,
say
how was your day? It was fine. Every episode, it was fine. It was not fine.
It was not fine.
It was not fine. But he's even finding a way in the show to kind of poke fun at the fact that we don't communicate in that way together. And then it also gives the black woman the intrusive look into the day-to-day lives of a black guy who grew up in a neighborhood, and now you're associated with that neighborhood. So now you're
a part of that neighborhood.
A mark. Yeah. I won't get into it too much.
Well, I like how you brought up the like idea, especially because the episodes are like kind of like there's no like set goal. It's like a string of consciousness. And hear me out. Okay. It kind of reminded me of a show called Random Acts of Flyness.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was done a little bit better as far as a more cohesive, understandable storyline. I do love Random Acts of Flyness. Don't get me wrong.
Me too.
But I feel like that one's more like avant-garde and more like out there, which I appreciate and we do need. I feel like this show bringing that into it, like different scenarios, but like showing the aspects of flyness, of blackness, and putting it into like not necessarily a box, but like a way that we all can like enjoy it exactly in a short period of time. I felt like I really, really enjoyed. If that makes sense, because I feel like there was not necessarily like a main goal of the series to say, but I feel like it hit so many different topics and like it did it quickly because we only got 5 episodes.
And 20 minutes. Like,
but
Vince, what are you doing?
It did it.
Get out.
Can we just get some more episodes? That's all we ask.
It's not a big deal.
Exactly.
I just want to know if the mom and the girlfriend were like really, really, really bond, or
exactly.
if they just bonded temporarily.
Because they was fighting.
Yeah.
Which happens at family reunions. I could definitely say this happened in my family. I had 3 fights in my last one, so. It's very believable. He's giving real depictions of black life.
I hope you guys find peace in that. I hope you do.
We did. We're all fine now. You know?
Until the next family reunion.
Until the next family reunion this year.
That whole mac and cheese situation.
It was too true. That's the funny part.
I don't know, y'all not have me make mac and cheese and then have somebody else make mac and cheese. What you gonna do with that mac and cheese? You gonna eat my mac and cheese. And then we all know that her mac and cheese was a nasty one, but the daughter still ate it. The stepdaughter. I
feel like it wasn't. Was it? The other lady had vegan macaroni and cheese. Again, nothing is vegans. But you bring a vegan macaroni and cheese to a black cookout.
Ooh.
And then and the problem isn't like I feel like we wouldn't like be too mad about it, but like grandma. But I'm just saying like the elders are gonna really cuss you out for doing something like that.
And so will I. And so will I. Because vegan mac and cheese, I don't care how good it gets, tastes like cardboard. That's fine. It's not even about the mac and cheese. It's really about the sentiment of the episode. The way that people can get under a black woman's skin and the way that she went about handling her business. Yes. I mean, I just thought it was really cool to see so many black women on the show without it being like done in a negative way. Yeah. You know, like his mama was standing her ground, but she never once felt like she was just ghetto, trashy. You know what I mean? She just felt like a black mom.
Yeah.
She just felt like a mom that was like, I'm standing for myself because you ain't
Yeah.
about to have me out here making a fool. So I'm gonna cuss out whoever brought this extra pan. And she was about to get to the bottom of that mystery. She said, "Come on." What was her girlfriend named Vanessa?
Yeah.
She was dragging her everywhere.
What that was Deja. Anyway.
Oh yeah, it was Deja.
Okay.
You're right.
But she was literally like,
she's like, "Come on, Deja." I was like,
and grab her, and like they started going. I was like,
period.
She's not playing. But again, that's
Deja
how
was
it is.
somebody's sidekick that day. Period.
And she had her back when they was fighting. She punched the dog.
She sure did.
I said so. That's what got the girlfriend brownie points for me, or bonus points, because she was just down. I love that.
I'm here for certain scenes in the show that people did not catch on to.
Like which ones?
What's the movie where the guy he gets shot in the back with Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Yeah, you got the reference from Boys in the Hood.
When he's running
when
down
white boy was shooting at him.
Exactly.
I said
White
crazy.
boy was shooting at him with his son in the car with his headphones on.
Yeah.
What?
I was like, was that a reference to what's the show? Power. Remember when Tyreek was in the backseat playing the game and Ghost was about to get killed in the backseat?
Huh.
Anyway,
Vince, where are you? I really honestly want to sit down and ask 1,000 more questions to Vince and Kenya Barris and everybody else involved in this making of this show. But long story short, wait. No, let me not do that. The first episode, I can't move on without talking about the first episode, okay?
We have to talk about it.
The first episode, this nigga accidentally goes to jail. What?
Literally.
Why can't y'all just obey the law? Fast forward.
But
because I see why he didn't tell his girl. Because if you was my nigga and you came home and you tell me you was out speeding, I'm gonna be like, really though? You just couldn't obey the law? You just wanted to go to jail?
But the reason why he went to jail was because they had mistakenly identified him as another person.
The reason he went to jail is because he was speeding, and that's why he got stopped.
That's why he got stopped. But the reason why he went to jail is because they racially profiled him, and then he went to jail.
I love it.
Which
it's a domino effect. But what if he wasn't speeding?
Exactly. But that's the thing that goes to that narrative, like black people can't do anything wrong, like because I did something wrong with something as minuscule as speeding. I'm in jail now for attempted assault or an assault case that I didn't even do because I look like another black person.
Right.
But everybody knew who he was. And that's like a thing throughout the show. Nobody knows who he was. But all the white officers knew who he was and knew his music, but yet still had him in jail and arrested him.
What? That was intentional.
That was definitely.
But there was also another fun thing about that episode as well. And I'm not even going to talk about the friend that he made in jail, the friend that he had. I am going to talk about the enemy that he made while he was there for that short period of time. And one thing I think is interesting, one thing what a foreshadowing type of name. One thing that I think is interesting about that, showing us that in movies is or TV shows, I think that he purposefully did this to call out black people for their logic and why they do things. So you might know me from someone else's neighborhood, or you might have seen me in this neighborhood growing up, but I was raised by someone in your neighborhood. But because you saw me over there in this neighborhood, now you want to kill me, and that makes sense to you. In that first episode, we're looking like what the? Why would you leave him alone?
Yeah.
Like, why do you have beef? You don't have beef. There's no beef.
Not any logical beef.
Not any logical beef. But we do see this type of thing in the black community. I'm not bringing down our community or our people. I am just saying that it is true that we see black people dying for reasons as simple as, oh, well, you know somebody that I knew and that person ended up dead and your side is responsible. Like, what? Why are we killing each other? Like, that was one of those moments where he very discreetly was like, gang violence. This is dumb.
It makes no sense.
Another moment. Sorry, I'm just hopping all over the place. But there was these little gems that he just did throughout the whole show. Now, I'm a person who gets drunk regularly and smokes weed on a regular. And Vince Staples, like, there's a moment where he's sitting down with an artist, and the artist tries to hand him a shot. He's like, you want to drink, whatever. And Vince's like, I'm sober. And it wasn't like a huge moment. It didn't last. There was no conversation. It wasn't a back and forth. The artist didn't pour another drink and force him to drink it. He said, I'm sober. And then the conversation continued.
Yeah.
Vince Staples is not only showing you how easy it is to be to say no to something, but also how to stand on your no. That's again why I say he's so authentic, so genuine. because you never see him do this whole back and forth thing. You don't see him get peer pressured. He seems like he very much so stands on his boundary, and I feel like he's trying to teach other Black people how to do the same thing, stand on the boundary.
Exactly.
Because he could have got more disrespectful at the chicken restaurant. Like he could have there were so many moments where he could have really lost his shit.
Well, I agree with you
loved it.
because I feel like in this show, like throughout the times where people know who he is and don't know who he is, I feel like you always have to sense that he knew who he was, and I think that's it's called the Vince Staples Show. But I mean, I feel like that's one thing I got. Like, I was like, okay, that's why it's called the Vince Staples Show. It's like this is a Black man who knows who he is, and I feel like that was one of the most important elements throughout the entire show. It's like seeing a Black man know who he is and how he can navigate through all these various ridiculous situations. Some like his own fault, but some like completely like obviously just being Black in America.
Yeah.
Like the bank robbery and him happening to know the bank robbers.
That was the funniest episode.
But because he had just got rejected from getting a loan, you know.
Oh my gosh.
So like seeing stuff like that, and then seeing Ricky Rose in the episode. But I mean, I feel like it was just genius, and it was like in some, and don't be mad at me about it, in some ways, I feel like it pulled off that aspect of like a Black man, confident Black man. It pulled off that like it pulled it off better for me than the show Atlanta. I feel like they're kind of similar in that aspect of like.
And in this regard, I will not compare.
you know what I'm saying? That was just.
It's like when people bring up Beyonce and Rihanna, completely different. Gambino's motivation and his mission and Vince Staples' motivation and mission are completely different. Completely different. So I would not even put those two apples together. I wouldn't even compare. That's an apple and a tomato. They're not even in the same field for me.
I mean, and you can definitely feel that way. I definitely see the two lanes for me. Just seeing a Black man showing himself in certain scenarios. That's what the aspect I'm comparing it as.
Yeah.
But I feel like for me, it was more clear in Vince's interpretation. Not to take away from Atlanta. Again, Atlanta's a really good show. I'm just saying for me.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
And I love the apple and tomato.
I'm just saying, it's just very, very different, you know? Like, we don't need to compare each other because both works of art are excellent. Atlanta is excellent. And if you don't think so, you didn't live in Atlanta.
Exactly. But again, being from like knowing LA and Vince being from Long Beach, it is something I understand more. I think I've seen more. So I definitely agree with that aspect.
There we go. There we have it.
And again, we're not saying Atlanta's not excellent. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for me, getting his message, I feel like I was able to relate to it better.
The thing that I would say, I wouldn't compare. I would not compare. But the thing that they share in common are they are both authentically themselves. Gambino shows up as that kind of proper Black dude in Black spaces. Vince shows up as just himself in Black spaces. But yeah, I wanted to talk about what you said earlier about him showing up as himself in every space. Like he really showed up as a confident version of himself. And there are moments in this where he chose peace, where he could have chose violence. Like a lot of moments. And the thing about it that makes it so funny is that if he was a white male, the response that he would have had to those Black girls not giving him the time of day and helping him, or you know what I mean? Like if he was any other race, the responses would have been way more explosive. Like, you know, you don't have any chicken for me? Like way more explosive. You know what I mean? Even down to like the jail scene where it's like Vince still had to be a Black man in that situation where it's like, well, let me make sure I'm safe. Let me make sure I'm good. He couldn't go out there while when the cops were out there because they would have shot him. So he had to wait until it was like coast is clear to go. But he still had to finagle a way to get something for himself because in America, if you don't finagle your way into some shit as a Black person, you're not about to get shit. So it was like, okay, well, you won't give me the loan, even though I have all the proof of why I deserve it and why I'm eligible and capable of paying this back. But okay, you want me to help you right now?
Exactly.
After you just said no to me without thinking twice about it? No, I can't.
Showing us the real American way. You can't do something without getting something.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. That's it.
But I again, like you said, like it was such a good interpretation, like especially like in those scenarios, like seeing how a Black man can react. Again, like because again, he could have got crazy, and we've seen different scenarios when they do get crazy, but like him always like choosing peace.
Yeah.
It was
And
nice.
and there's a whole there's a thing about that, about Black people choosing peace. Now, the reason why I want to call this out is because we choose peace, because if we choose the opposite, then it's a problem
Yeah.
for real. Like, we can't experience rage how other races experience it.
Absolutely.
It was something I noticed in Arizona when I was living there. A white person had walked past me. They were on the phone and they were like having a bad day or whatever. So they were like on the phone yelling to whoever they were talking to. They were like, F this, F that, blah, blah, screaming on the phone. And then right after that, I walked past a Black guy who quietly murmured, fuck. It was like he was having a bad day, but he could not express it loudly.
Exactly.
Versus the white man or other races of people who are allowed to freely express themselves. Yeah. So I also thought that it was interesting in the show how he was going through all of these trials, tribulations. You know, you're facing just hardship back to back to back. And while being faced with all these things, you're never expressing anything. You're never expressing outward anger. You're not yelling. You know what I mean? You're not crying. After the day that he had, you'd imagine he'd come up to his girl and cry. Feel something.
I feel like they chose a wide range of emotions. Remember he yelled when he was like, "Just give me it all, nigga!" Like when he give him a change with the hot sauce. But again, it was still restrained. Like
it was still restrained, right? Because he should have got his money back. You should have said no change first.
Yes.
If he wasn't restrained, he would have choked him. He had a horrible day.
He would have shot him.
He got into a fight.
He got jumped by all the characters.
And then answered his phone. Crazy.
Go get this chicken for his girlfriend, and she didn't know.
Because she wanted it. And then when he got to her, she cussed him out. Because he wasn't there when she needed him. I mean, there's so many different sides of this coin, and I just loved how many different sides of it we got to explore.
Definitely.
Even in the beginning with his mom, seeing him as like a kid and a teenager, like all that stuff, like just seeing the way that they progress these different relationships that he had in his household. They did it so quickly, so tastefully, so fast. I was really excited about that. So
I loved it.
I'm gonna say definitely give this show a watch. I mean, it's not appropriate, you know. There's cursing involved, you know. But
Netflix said it had nudity, but I didn't see any nudity in this show at all.
I don't think I saw any either.
So like it'll say that, but there's like I think it's safe for like teenagers to watch. I wouldn't
just some cursing.
Yeah,
just some cursing.
I'm only saying that because I want people to watch the show, and you know sometimes like it'll say like a certain, and I was like this was not bad at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It wasn't one of those things you have to sit there with your mom and cover your eyes for.
Exactly.
And that's a wonderful thing. But overall, I'm gonna say like this was one of my favorite watches. I'm super hopeful that there's another season behind it, or that Vince is doing more work on stuff like this, because I love to see people just be genuinely themselves. I am a genuinely myself type person. And it's like really refreshing when people are not like trying to be something that they're not, you know, like when your no means no, when you're not trying hard to fit in, when you're not even, I don't even know if he was actively trying hard to promote that whole no drinking thing. But for me, I'm like, oh, he said sober.
No, but I think everything's intentional, especially when you have a 25-minute episode.
Right.
And like, and when you see how intentional everything else is, like the way they show everything.
Right.
I feel like what you got is valid.
Yeah, definitely. Any other comments? Did you have any other pros that you liked about this, or did you feel like there's anything that could have been done differently?
I mean, I was saying just to critique a little bit. It kind of was. I mean, you could say maybe a little triggering. The first episode being the jail episode.
Oh right,
and like
you didn't like that.
Typical Black men going to jail. I was kind of like, But again, it's first of all, the show is hilarious. You're going to laugh. Like I'm so like I can't.
It was a nigga.
Exactly.
He had to go to jail. So he met that nigga who sang him that song.
So, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, could you just imagine being in jail and be like, damn, I'm having a terrible day. This guy just said he about to line me up. I was like Googling line me up for like 20 minutes. Like, line me up. Like, that's a haircut, right? I didn't realize that he was talking about stabbing.
Yes.
You know, that was really surprising.
Then one guy's like, ain't that bad. Had the whole scar from getting stabbed.
Again, there's more. It's so much thicker, Vince, and I understand what you were doing there because that's an OG.
Yes, I remember what I wanted to say about the small messages because you pointed it out, and he did one too when he had a conversation with the OG.
Okay,
he was like, people always say, my dad used to always tell me, if you do the crime, you do the time. He never told me just don't do the crime. I was like, message. Sorry, I had to bring that up.
But the fact that someone needed to tell you not to do the crime is crazy. And that's why you're in jail? Take some ownership. Please.
That is him taking ownership. He's saying, like, you learn from your mistakes. Like, don't do the crime. You don't, like, because he was saying, like, the whole aspect of, like, so many people having that jail culture, going into it, like, oh, I made friends in jail because he was all bragging about it. He was like, but I essentially saying, like, I didn't have to go through this if I just didn't do the crime. Like, he had that realization.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought that was like, another clever little, nugget.
It was, but what I was saying about that OG is cycles, the type of shit that OGs normalize, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that he had these war wounds and was like, it ain't that bad. Like, sir, what are you sipping on? Why
like
are
your
you
whole
tripping?
kidney probably got removed on this side. Like,
what?
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Again, black violence. We're talking about it. He definitely did show us that. Now I know what you mean about the stereotypical like niggas in jail type stuff. You know what I mean? But I think when it serves a greater purpose, I'm okay with it. And for me, it served a greater purpose because I feel like one, he was bringing attention to black violence, gang violence for no reason. He was also bringing attention to police stereotyping and profiling. And then also like how his celebrity was able to give him certain privileges, but couldn't get him out of jail because he's still black.
Nice.
So I thought that was there was some interesting context in that. But so for me, 5 episodes, I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10, however numbers you want to give it.
A+.
It was
Absolutely.
it was just really thoughtful, and he chose the right people to act it out with. And for me, the girlfriend, she's more like a Claire Huxtable than other people would see off like immediately. But for me,
modern day, definitely.
She's a modern. It's a modern day. Yeah. That's everything. Because like back then, Claire would have had to have been a lawyer. Now
she's a nurse, right?
She's like an RN or something like that. Yeah, with her scrubs. Like that would be the equivalent of that. And she's of course a hot girl, and I don't know. And she had all the attitude in the world, and she knew how to talk to her man to get him to do what he needed to do. So I was a fan of that. I was a fan of who they used. I was a fan of the family. I was a fan of the mom, and I thought that Vince Staples really, I don't know, he was just the perfect gel between it all. Like he really did the nonchalant thing so well, where he was like, today it was fine, or whatever he says, and it's just like, dang, I wonder how much weight these men are really carrying on their shoulders. Now this show is crazy because you hope to God that he's not getting jumped by cartoon figures at Castle Park. But if he is, you also hope that he tells you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, obviously it is a show, but if I see you with a bloody lip and a black eye, I'm probably gonna ask you to.
Yo tengo pregunta.
No, for real. So she didn't ask. Well, she did, but that time she cussed him out. She didn't ask. But he had the bloody lip.
Black man. that one time though, she didn't. So
I'm saying, but it was the black eye, the bloody lip. Him holding his side from the probably broken ribs.
And all I seen from that, like objectively, not knowing that he just got jumped from her perspective after she just got harassed by the store guy, all I see is you
were not there. Exactly.
So I don't know who you was talking to, whose mouth, like why was you running off at the mouth or whatever to cause whatever fight that because there's still some shit that happened that caused that. He was mean mugging the cartoon back. Like that was really he really was having a beef with someone whose eyes he couldn't see until it became a real beef. Like if
he wasn't fighting, if he was there, he wouldn't have to get jumped if he was with her.
There's a lot of things that where it's like, well, if you would have just stayed with your girl, then she wouldn't have been dragged around the barbecue with your mama. You would have just stayed with your girl, then you wouldn't have got jumped by the Snoopy creatures. You know what I mean? Like, if you would have just stayed there, I feel like there's a lot of moments where he just disappeared. And I'm like, where are you going? If I'm your girlfriend and I'm at your family barbecue, do not leave me with your mama. Do not leave me with your mama.
People on a bond, but this is not the time.
I don't care about the rapport that we have. I don't care if you're my best friend behind closed doors. Do not leave me with your mama. Do not leave me with your mama. Do not leave me with your mama. Yeah. Never. I don't want to meet your cousins by myself. I don't want to do it. What?
I think people do stuff like that, like as like a rite of passage. Don't do that to me.
Don't do that to me. If I come to your house and you leave me unattended,
I'm leaving.
every time. All right, well, I gotta go.
Yeah, it was nice.
Like my friend went to sleep or something. I'll see y'all later.
That's crazy. They thought I was gonna stay here and talk to people
If
I'm
I
not in a
want to be
relationship with.
around family, I would choose my own, not
The
yours.
one that raised me. You know, hey.
Get real.
And this is nothing against, people being with family. It's just that's weird.
Yeah. In case y'all didn't know. In case you just drop people off in rooms with your family members, nobody wants to be with them. I promise you. But okay, back to the show. I loved it. I think Vince Staples is a genius. There's so much more greatness behind him. I'm sure that whatever he's working on next is also going to impress us. But loved the Vince Staples show. If you haven't watched it yet, check it out. The little theme song, Fine Day. Love that.
Beautiful.
I love that.
I was like, he's a composer.
Keep it short. It's excellent. Yeah. I mean, everything was so thoughtful. So great job, Vince. Streaming on Netflix now. Don't be late to the party. Catch up on the laughs as soon as you can. Absolutely. Anything else you want to add?
Beautiful. I loved it. 10 out of 10. Excellent. Amazing.
Those are great adjectives, and we love that here. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching another episode of the Black Cinema Experience podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, interact, share, follow, do whatever you must to keep up with us as we take you down our journey of wonderful Black cinema, Black theatre, and Black television. Thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you soon. Bye.